Your time has come. You will have millions. The law of assumptio. There comes a moment in every life when the heavens seem to whisper, now is your time. That moment is not marked by the ticking of a clock, nor by the validation of others. It is marked by your decision to finally believe. You were not created for lack, for scraping by, for just enough. You were created to expand, to overflow, to walk in abundance. Everything you have ever dreamed of, millions in your account, overflow in your life, peace in your heart, it already exists, waiting not on time, but on your assumption. The world you see is only the outpicturing of the world within you. If you can dare to believe that it is already done, then nothing in this world can stop it from becoming real. Stop waiting for your breakthrough. Be the breakthrough. The law that governs your destiny is not outside of you. It is your inner state. Assume the life of wealth now. Feel it, walk in it, speak from it. You do not need to figure out the how. You only need to own the I am. Your time has come, not tomorrow, not next year. Now, if you can persist in the unseen reality, the world will rearrange itself. Prepare yourself not to wait, but to receive, because the millions are already yours. You only need to assume they are. Assume the wealth within it is already yours. There is a silent power within you, greater than all the striving, effort, and hustle the world teaches. It is the power to assume a state of being before it appears. The truth is this: you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And if you can truly become the person who already possesses millions in consciousness, the physical millions must follow as surely as a shadow follows the body. Most people live by sight. They look at their bank accounts, their job titles, their debts, and their lack, and they say, "This is my reality." But that is not reality. It is only the residue of past assumptions. It is an echo, not a decree. Real reality begins within. It is formed not by external events, but by inner conviction. If you see yourself as wealthy, and you feel it with certainty, you summon a new reality into existence. You assume the mood, the posture, the confidence, and the inner dialogue of one who is already wealthy. That is the law of assumption, and it never fails. It operates impersonally, just like gravity. The law does not care if you believe it or not. It responds to the state you live in. And the state you live in is determined by what you assume to be true. So begin to see yourself differently. Close your eyes and imagine the version of you who already has millions. How do you walk? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself in the room? This imagined self is not fantasy, it is truth waiting to be embodied. And the more you dwell in it, the more you make it your natural state, the faster your outer world must conform. Wealth does not come to the one who tries the hardest, it comes to the one who believes the deepest. It is not earned by sweat alone, but by alignment. You must break free from the prison of waiting and hoping, and rise into the power of knowing. When you assume something is already yours, you no longer beg for it, strive for it, or chase it. You live from it. You make decisions from abundance, not scarcity. You speak with authority, not desperation. You move through life as a creator, not a victim. That is the great secret, to live as if it's already done, as if you already have it, because in the unseen world you do, and the seen must follow the unseen when your assumption is unwavering. If you wake up every day and assume poverty, life will show you proof of it. If you wake up and assume uncertainty, the day will mirror confusion. But if you rise and assume, I am wealthy, I am secure, I am favored, then everything in life begins to bend to that new identity. You don't have to manipulate people. You don't need to convince the world. You only need to be convinced yourself. This is not about positive thinking or surface-level affirmations. This is about identity. This is about assuming the very nature of the person you want to be and refusing to let go of that self, no matter what the outer world says. The old version of you may try to rise again with doubts, fears, and questions. Let it fade. Do not give your attention to what was. Give your full attention to what is becoming and treat it as already done. The law of assumption demands your loyalty to the unseen, not your obedience to appearances. And when your inner assumption becomes more real to you than your outer conditions, then your outer world has no choice but to transform. That is how it works. That is how millionaires are born from within. You will not receive millions to become wealthy. You will receive millions because you finally realized you already were. This is not arrogance. This is truth. It is the recognition that the world outside of you is clay, and the world within is the sculptor. And if you keep carving the vision of wealth, confidence, peace, and success in your mind and heart, then your circumstances will mold themselves accordingly. Stop treating your imagination like fiction. It is your truest faculty. It is the workshop of God within you. Use it wisely. Every time you imagine yourself as wealthy, every time you feel yourself in possession of abundance, every time you assume the state of wealth, you are moving closer to its physical manifestation. But not because it's far away, because you are aligning your reality to match what is already yours spiritually. Wealth is not a matter of luck or external favor. It is a matter of internal assumption. The world cannot deny the person who no longer doubts. So choose today to assume the wealth within you, walk in it, think from it, respond to life through it, and when doubt tries to speak, remind yourself, I have already received it. Your time has come. Not because you are suddenly lucky, but because you have finally aligned. The law will not fail you. It never has, it never will. Assume the wealth, it is already yours. Assume the wealth within, it is already yours. There is a silent power within you, greater than all the striving, effort, and hustle the world teaches. It is the power to assume a state of being before it appears. The truth is this: you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And if you can truly become the person who already possesses millions in consciousness, the physical millions must follow as surely as a shadow follows the body. Most people live by sight. They look at their bank accounts, their job titles, their debts, and their lack, and they say, this is my reality. But that is not reality. It is only the residue of past assumptions. It is an echo, not a decree. Real reality begins within. It is formed not by external events, but by inner conviction. If you see yourself as wealthy, and you feel it with certainty, you summon a new reality into existence. You assume the mood, the posture, the confidence, and the inner dialogue of one who is already wealthy. That is the law of assumption, and it never fails. It operates impersonally, just like gravity. The law does not care if you believe it or not. It responds to the state you live in. And the state you live in is determined by what you assume to be true. So begin to see yourself differently. Close your eyes and imagine the version of you who already has millions. How do you walk? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself in the room? This imagined self is not fantasy. It is truth waiting to be embodied. And the more you dwell in it, the more you make it your natural state, the faster your outer world must conform. Wealth does not come to the one who tries the hardest. It comes to the one who believes the deepest. It is not earned by sweat alone, but by alignment. You must break free from the prison of waiting and hoping, and rise into the power of knowing. When you assume something is already yours, you no longer beg for it, strive for it, or chase it. You live from it. You make decisions from abundance, not scarcity. You speak with authority, not desperation. You move through life as a creator, not a victim. That is the great secret, to live as if it's already done. As if you already have it, because in the unseen world you do, and the seen must follow the unseen when your assumption is unwavering. If you wake up every day and assume poverty, life will show you proof of it. If you wake up and assume uncertainty, the day will mirror confusion. But if you rise and assume, I am wealthy, I am secure, I am favored, then everything in life begins to bend to that new identity. You don't have to manipulate people. You don't need to convince the world. You only need to be convinced yourself. This is not about positive thinking or surface-level affirmations. This is about identity. This is about assuming the very nature of the person you want to be and refusing to let go of that self, no matter what the outer world says. The old version of you may try to rise again with doubts, fears, and questions. Let it fade. Do not give your attention to what was. Give your full attention to what is becoming and treat it as already done. The law of assumption demands your loyalty to the unseen, not your obedience to appearances. And when your inner assumption becomes more real to you than your outer conditions, then your outer world has no choice but to transform. That is how it works. That is how millionaires are born from within. You will not receive millions to become wealthy. You will receive millions because you finally realized you already were. This is not arrogance. This is truth. It is the recognition that the world outside of you is clay, and the world within is the sculptor. And if you keep carving the vision of wealth, confidence, peace, and success in your mind and heart, then your circumstances will mold themselves accordingly. Stop treating your imagination like fiction. It is your truest faculty. It is the workshop of God within you. Use it wisely. Every time you imagine yourself as wealthy, every time you feel yourself in possession of abundance, every time you assume the state of wealth, you are moving closer to its physical manifestation. But not because it's far away, because you are aligning your reality to match what is already yours spiritually. Wealth is not a matter of luck or external favor. It is a matter of internal assumption. The world cannot deny the person who no longer doubts. So choose today to assume the wealth within you, walk in it, think from it, respond to life through it, and when doubt tries to speak, remind yourself, I have already received it. Your time has come. Not because you are suddenly lucky, but because you have finally aligned. The law will not fail you. It never has, it never will. Assume the wealth. It is already yours. Feel it real, the emotional key to manifesting millions. To create the life of your dreams, a life overflowing with millions, peace, freedom, and divine fulfillment, you must master one central truth. You must feel it real. The mind may imagine, but the heart brings it to life. Until the desire becomes an emotional experience, it remains nothing but a wish, a fantasy. But the moment you embody the feeling of already having what you seek, you step into alignment with the version of yourself that possesses it. Feeling is the secret ingredient that fuses your desire with creative power. It is the magnet, the spark, the invisible command that calls forth the unseen into the seen. If you want millions, do not merely speak about it, feel the reality of it within your being. Feel the satisfaction, the freedom, the security, and the joy as if you were already there. When you do this consistently, persistently, and sincerely, you move into the vibrational match of wealth itself. People often ask, how can I feel something that I do not yet see? And the answer is simple, because all things are first created in the unseen. The world of imagination is not lesser than the physical, it is the origin of it. Every skyscraper was once only an idea. Every business empire began in the mind. Every miracle was born in the invisible realm of assumption and belief. Your feelings are the evidence of your belief, and your belief shapes your world. When you feel rich now, you broadcast that signal to the universe, and that signal cannot return to you void. The law of life responds not to what you want, but to what you are. And you are what you feel yourself to be. If you feel lack, you remain in lack. If you feel doubt, you delay your manifestation. But if you feel wealthy sincerely, powerfully, and regularly, then wealth begins to gather around you like metal to a magnet. This is not magic. It is divine law. What you emotionally claim to be true becomes true. Do not confuse this with blind emotion or fleeting excitement. This is not about hype. It's about entering the deep inner knowing of your already realized future and living from it. When you go within and close your eyes, see yourself in possession of everything you've dreamed of. Visualize the home, the bank account, the lifestyle, but more importantly, feel it. Let the emotions of success wash over you like a wave. Let your heartbeat change, let your breathing slow, let your mind sink into the certainty that it is already done. This is the creative act. This is the power of God in you. This is the moment that reshapes your world. Many people fail in this process not because the law is weak, but because they do not persist in the feeling. They allow external circumstances to shake their inner world. They check their bank balance and feel discouraged. They see delays and assume denial. But the truth is, your outer world is the past in motion. Your inner world is the present power. Do not give your emotions away to appearances. Guard your feeling state like sacred ground. Choose deliberately what you feel and what you dwell on. If your mind wanders to worry, gently bring it back to abundance. If doubt whispers lies, silence it with truth. It is done. I already have it. Speak not from longing, but from fulfillment. When you feel rich before you are rich, you demonstrate faith in its highest form, and faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the emotion of the end before it becomes the beginning, and that is why emotion is the fuel of manifestation. You may think and imagine all day long, but unless you attach emotion to your vision, it lacks power. The universe listens to the language of feeling. Your subconscious is moved by repetition and emotion, not logic. You cannot reason your way into wealth, you must feel your way into it. So feel it now. Make time daily to sit quietly and immerse yourself in the emotions of already having what you seek. Make your internal world more real than your external one. Dwell in the mood of the wish, fulfilled until it becomes natural, until it feels like home. Then you will know you have succeeded, because when it becomes natural to feel wealthy, it must become natural to live wealthy. The outer mirrors the inner with mathematical precision. You don't have to figure out how it will happen. That's not your role. Your job is to assume and feel. The rest is handled by unseen intelligence, by divine law, by the mechanism that governs all creation. Doors will open, ideas will emerge, people will cross your path. But it all begins with feeling. Let that be your foundation. Let that be your discipline. This is not about effort in the physical world. This is about effort in the emotional realm. Train your emotions like a master. Feel what you desire until it becomes your dominant state. When you walk, walk with the posture of someone already rich. When you speak, let your tone reflect security and certainty. When you plan your day, plan it from abundance, not limitation. Even in small things, let the feeling guide you. Live the movie in your mind so vividly that the outer world has no choice but to play the script you've written. You have been given the power to create through feeling. It is a sacred gift. It is not reserved for the elite, the lucky, or the chosen. It is for all who dare to believe, and you right now are being invited to step into that power. So take it, use it. Feel it real, because the life you dream of is not far away. It is one feeling away, one assumption away, one decision away. Millions are not outside of you. They are waiting in the atmosphere of your faith. And when you feel it as real, the universe will deliver. Not because it suddenly decided to bless you, but because you finally decided to receive. Live from the end, the state of fulfilled desire is the shortcut to millions. To live from the end is to embody the state of your fulfilled desire right now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances shift, but in this present moment. This is the sacred secret that separates the manifester from the dreamer, the creator from the complainer, the wealthy from the wishful. Living from the end means you stop asking when it will happen and begin acting, thinking, and feeling as if it already has. It is the decision to shift your awareness from longing to possessing, from hoping to knowing, from seeking to being. Your imagination must no longer be something you visit occasionally for comfort. It must become the reality from which you operate daily. See yourself as the millionaire you long to be, and then live your life through the lens of that identity. How would you behave today if you already had millions? How would you walk, speak, and think? What decisions would you make? What kind of peace would you carry? This inner alignment with the end result is not make. Believe it is the blueprint of manifestation. The truth is, your outer world is only ever catching up with the inner assumptions you hold most consistently. If you assume wealth and remain in that assumption emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, the world around you must eventually yield to that belief. Most people live from the middle, constantly reacting to what is, adjusting to what they don't want, trying to climb out of lack through effort and struggle, but the middle is chaos, it is uncertainty. It is a never-ending loop of striving. Living from the end is stillness, it is clarity, it is standing on the mountaintop of your desire and looking back, rather than clawing your way up from the valley. When you live from the end, you no longer chase, you attract. You don't fight for wealth, you embody it. You don't need external evidence, your internal vision is your proof, and here lies the power. The end assumed is the end achieved. If you see yourself as already wealthy, and you persist in that vision without wavering, life will conspire to make it so. The world around you will bend, shift, move, and align in ways that seem miraculous, but it is not a miracle. It is law. This world is shaped by states of consciousness. When you change your state, you change your experience. Your job is not to figure out the journey, your job is to claim the destination, to move mentally and emotionally into the space where it is already done. That is what it means to live from the end. You no longer question whether it will happen. You know it has already happened in the invisible realm, and because you know this, you behave as one who already possesses it. You stop entertaining lack-based thoughts. You no longer speak as someone who is unsure. You don't panic, you don't plead, and you don't overanalyze. You simply live in peace, with the calm assurance that what you have internally accepted must externally manifest. Living from the end also means letting go of time. You detach from the idea of how long will it take. Because you're no longer waiting, you're living it. Time becomes irrelevant when you live from the end, because the emotional experience of the wish fulfilled is happening now. In this eternal now, all creation exists, and what you occupy in consciousness now will eventually externalize itself. Many people weaken their manifestation because they jump in and out of states. One day they are confident and sure, the next they are doubting and worrying. This inconsistency delays the end result. You must remain loyal to the end you've chosen, be faithful to it in thought and emotion. Enter into the scene of your fulfilled desire and make it your dwelling place. Speak only from the end, feel only from the end, act only from the end. If someone asked you today, how's life? Your answer from the end would be, it's extraordinary, I am blessed beyond measure, I live in complete abundance. And even if your senses scream otherwise, you must hold that end with unwavering faith. That is the test, that is the work, to see with the eyes of spirit when the eyes of flesh still see limitation. Living from the end doesn't mean you become passive, it means you become aligned. You don't chase random opportunities anymore. You follow inspired action that flows from the state you've assumed. You don't seek validation. You don't need evidence. You are the evidence. You are the one who already is what the world is catching up to. This inner certainty creates magnetic power. People will feel it in your presence. Life will respond to it. Wealth will begin to form around it. You'll receive sudden ideas, connections, and openings that match your new state not because you force them, but because you finally aligned with the end result, and this is the shortcut to millions. Not laboring endlessly in the world, but laboring faithfully in your inner world until it becomes natural to think, feel, and live as the person who already has everything you desire. It is never about the thing itself, it is about your consciousness of the thing. Money is just energy responding to your state. When your state is lack, you repel it. When your state is abundance, you attract it effortlessly. The key is not in doing more, it is in assuming more. Assuming the end boldly, persistently, without doubt, without apology, the one who lives from the end walks through life as if the promise has already been fulfilled. That is the posture of power, that is the walk of faith. And that is the life that commands the universe to respond. So let this be the moment you stop waiting and start living. Let this be the hour you claim the end, not as a hope, but as a truth. Begin now to walk, speak, and think from the end, from millions, from freedom, from favor. And you will find, in divine timing and perfect order, that the world will match the assumption you refused to let go of. The end is already yours, now live from it. Ignore the 3D wealth responds to inner conviction, not outer circumstance. To manifest millions and step boldly into the life you were always meant to live, you must master one of the most powerful principles of all. Ignore the 3D. Ignore the world of appearances. Ignore the visible facts that seem to contradict your vision. Ignore the noise, the evidence, the balance in your bank account, and everything that tries to convince you that you are not yet what you've already assumed yourself to be. This world of form, this outer experience called reality, is not the cause of your life, it is the effect. It is a mirror, a reflection, a delayed echo of the assumptions you have held within. If you try to change your world by reacting to it, you only strengthen its grip. But if you can look it in the face and deny its authority over your future, you step into true power. The millionaire does not wait for money to arrive to feel abundant. The millionaire assumes wealth now, feels it now, acts from it now, even when the outer world shows no proof. Why? Because they know that the 3D is just a shadow, a shell, a former version of belief. It has no creative power of its own. It is like looking in the rear-view mirror of your life. It only shows you what you believed yesterday. And if you take direction from it, you stay trapped in a loop of repetition. The key to rising out of the 3D is refusing to let it dictate your emotions, your mood, or your movement. You must choose, moment by moment, to remain loyal to the unseen, to the vision, to the assumption of wealth, no matter how real lack may seem. This is not denial of fact, it is denial of its power over you, because something may be true temporarily in your experience, but it is not the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is what you assume and persist in. That's the law. Every time you look at your current situation and say, "This is why I can't be rich," you delay the wealth. Every time you check the numbers and feel discouraged, you slow the manifestation. But if you can hold the inner conviction that your millions are already yours, that your financial overflow is already forming, and that your life is aligning even when nothing yet shows it, then you are operating from the higher law. And that law does not return void. Ignoring the 3D is not ignorance, it is discipline. It takes strength to look at debt and still declare, "I am rich." It takes courage to walk into your job and still feel like a boss. It takes divine focus to see beyond the senses and trust what the heart knows, but this is what manifestation requires. The senses are late. They show you what you've already believed, so if you want a new result, you must change the belief, not the scene. The scene will catch up. Your job is to hold the inner image and not flinch when life tests it, and it will test it. The 3D will scream that nothing is happening. It will tempt you to give up, to settle, to say, "Maybe this just isn't for me." But that is the old self trying to reclaim you. Refuse, stay, persist, remain faithful to the assumption that wealth is already yours, and over time, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly, the outer world begins to yield. Opportunities show up, random blessings fall into place. People you never imagined come bearing gifts, opening doors, and making the impossible look easy. But none of it is random. It is the law responding to your unwavering inner state. This is why your focus is your most valuable asset. Protect it. Stop checking for signs. Stop needing confirmation. The moment you assume wealth and refuse to contradict that assumption with doubt or fear, the universe begins moving, not always visibly. Sometimes it's invisible rearrangement, but movement is happening. You are never stuck. You are either manifesting the old or creating the new. So choose which reality you will feed. Ignore the 3D long enough and it will have to change. It has no choice but to follow the dominant vibration within you, and the dominant vibration is determined by your assumption. Speak as if it's done, feel as if it's done, plan as if it's done. When someone asks how you're doing, don't reply from your bank account, reply from your inner reality. "I'm blessed, I'm thriving, I'm walking into abundance." Even if you whisper it in private, make it your truth. This is not pretense, this is creative authority. The 3D world is like a lagging broadcast. It is showing you what you used to believe, but you are a new person now. You have assumed a new identity. You no longer react to the scene, you create the scene. That is the difference between being a victim of life and being the author of life. And the moment you stop letting circumstances lead your feelings, you begin leading circumstances. Millions are not delayed by the world, they are delayed by your agreement with what the world says. Withdraw that agreement, ignore what is in favor of what shall be, and more importantly, what already is in the unseen. Spiritual realm is more real than the physical, and you are a spiritual being. You live by inner truth, not external data. Let others live in reaction, you live in creation, and soon your results will reflect that. You will find yourself walking into wealth you once only imagined. You will see zeros multiply in your account, not because you chased them, but because you aligned with them. You will become the embodiment of abundance, and others will ask you, "How did you do it?" And your answer will not be about hustle, grind, or luck. It will be about belief, conviction, persistence. It will be about ignoring what the eyes saw and standing firm in what the soul knew. That is the power that changes everything. Ignore the 3D, and the 3D will have to obey you. Persistence in assumption, the millionaire mind that never wavers, the final and perhaps most vital key to manifesting millions through the law of assumption. Is persistence the unwavering, daily, moment-by-moment decision to remain loyal to the state of wealth, even when the outer world suggests otherwise? Persistence is not a one-time declaration. It is a sustained state of consciousness, a stubborn refusal to be moved by anything except your inner vision. It is the quiet but powerful insistence, this is who I am now. I am wealthy, I am successful. I am a millionaire in spirit, and the world will reflect it in time. The truth is, anyone can assume wealth for a day, anyone can visualize for a few minutes, anyone can say affirmations when they're feeling good. But manifestation belongs not to the occasional believer, but to the persistent one. The person who holds the inner vision so steadily that it becomes more real than the external facts. You must persist in your assumption until it becomes your identity, until you no longer have to try to believe because it simply is who you are. That's when the world shifts. That's when doors open. That's when the bank account catches up with the belief. The outer world is always late. It responds eventually and faithfully to the dominant inner state you occupy. But it requires time, not because the universe is slow, but because your belief must be stable enough to hold the blessing. If your inner world is inconsistent, your outer world will be too. This is why persistence matters more than effort, more than knowledge, more than even desire. Desire can fade, effort can be misdirected, but persistence holds the line. Persistence says, even when it looks like nothing is happening, I know everything is happening. Even when I can't see the bridge, I walk in faith. Even when fear whispers, I answer with confidence. That is the posture of the millionaire mind, not arrogance, but inner certainty, not loud proclamations, but deep knowing. You do not need to convince others. You do not need to beg the universe. You only need to persist in the assumption that what you have imagined is already yours, and to persist means repetition. It means revisiting your inner state every day, realigning with the vision again and again, especially when the world tempts you to react to what is. It means saturating your mind with the reality of your desire until it becomes your default state. This is not work in the physical sense, this is spiritual stamina. It is holding to the invisible in a world addicted to proof. It is walking through shadows with your eyes fixed on the light. It is choosing over and over again to believe the inner world over the outer facts. Most people give up right before the shift. They assume wealth for a few days, see no change, and declare it doesn't work. But that is like planting a seed and digging it up every day to check if it's growing. The soil needs your faith. The process requires your steadiness. Your assumption must become a living, breathing state of being. You must become one with the vision. This is why you must speak from it, walk from it, and feel from it as if it were already completed. There is no room for if. There is only when, and eventually even that becomes now, because the more you persist, the more the assumption becomes so deeply embedded in your subconscious that the outer world cannot help but yield. You don't chase the millions, you call them by your consciousness. You don't force success, you align with it. Persistence is not frantic, it is calm. It is the quiet power of someone who knows. Imagine how you would live if you truly knew it was already done. Would you panic? Would you doubt? Would you give up after a week of seeing no results? No, you would rest in the knowing. You would persist in peace. That's what this path calls for. You must persist in imagining, in affirming, in feeling the reality of your wealth, not because you're trying to make it happen, but because it has already happened in the only place that matters, your consciousness. And consciousness always becomes form. The mistake many make is to let the 3D world drag them out of their assumption. They see bills and they stop believing. They face delay and they abandon the vision. But if you truly desire to manifest millions, you must outlast the resistance. You must hold the inner state regardless of outer appearances. And this doesn't mean pretending facts don't exist. It means refusing to give them creative power. Facts are not final. The final word belongs to your assumption if you persist. This is why consistency is more important than intensity. You don't need to feel ecstatic every moment. You don't need to visualize perfectly. You simply need to keep returning to the state, keep revisiting the feeling, keep speaking from the end. Over time, this persistence reshapes your self-concept. You are no longer someone trying to get rich. You are someone who is already rich in spirit, in belief, in identity. And that shift is the foundation of all external change. It is the blueprint that life follows. Nothing is withheld from the one who refuses to let go. So if you've imagined it, assumed it, and truly desired it, don't stop. Don't check the clock. Don't look for signs. Persist in the feeling, and the feeling will produce the form. The law of assumption never fails, only the believer does when they grow weary. But not you. You now understand the secret. You now know the truth. And the truth is, wealth is already yours if you dare to persist in the assumption of it. Day by day, thought by thought, feeling by feeling, until the world says it happened overnight. And you will smile knowing that it didn't happen overnight, it happened in the unseen, and you simply never let it go. That is the power of persistence. That is the path to millions.